volume 0%.
Good afternoon, and welcome to Blindformers. I am Blind Prime, and today for you, I have Transformers, War for Cybertron, Seige, Astrotrain. Now, Astrotrain is a neat guy. One part about him is that he was both released in Siege and Earthrise, so double the Astrotrains, double the fun. Now, for Astrotrain here, he came with a lot of extra stuff because in some ways he's just a Voyager class figure with some accessories, like some extra booties and stuff like that. So we're going to do a few measurements for him because he has this armor. Now when you get him out of the package, he won't have the armor. And so I will take off the armor and then show you how to put the armor on. So first off, I'm going to take the top of his head here, measure it over there, and he stands 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. 22 studs tall. Not bad. Not bad, dude. You are a tall bugger. Not as tall as some of them, but taller than most everyone else. Now with his booties installed, where are you, Bumblebee? Here you are. Come on, Bumblebee. Show off what you got. And you've got a height that will put you... I'd say Bumblebee comes to this guy's elbow? Yeah. Bumblebee's head comes to the underside of the elbow again. So usually whenever the figures get above 20 studs tall, Bumblebee's head is going to be under the elbow. Good grief, Bumblebee. Your head is almost as big as the end of this dude's gun. Or wait, this dude's gun is almost as big as Bumblebee. Talk about staring down the barrel of a gun, huh? Yeah. Bumblebee's sword, or Nemesis Prime sword, is of course taller. That's the final tall marker. We haven't had anybody to beat the Nemesis Prime sword in height yet, but I'm sure we'll come across them. Alright, so let's remove the armor. Go away, Bumblebee. Chill over here for a bit. Lower the sword so it's not in the camera. Thank you. Alright, so let's talk about his armor real quick, because he comes with a bunch of armor-like accessories. I don't know if you really classify it as armor. I classify it as a cloak, because it kind of looks that way. And it also can support him. As you can see, we'll turn him around, those of you with vision. And he's got this cool cloak thing. He can actually like close it up to him and move these parts to be sort of like a duster cloak, if you will, because it will hug his legs. I think that's pretty neat. As extra things go, he's got some of the coolest extra stuff, because it's actually a neat little part. So what you do is you take his little cloak thing that, of course, whenever it's sitting on his back, it kind of looks like an upside down capital Y, just really fat. And to unplug it, you just grab it by the segment that has the texture of treads, and you pull it off the back. It will reveal his original back, which has engines, 3 of them to be precise, in a triangle formation. So, in a way, this guy's got 3 separate 5mm ports on his back. Now, to finish unarmoring him, you just take the bottom of his feet. There's one of them. And, come on. Look, I know you like being tall. You're going to have to give up your feet. Okay. There we go. So those 2 pads come off from his feet, and these pads, they have an extension on the back that helps him with his heel, and they have a little ramp in the front that goes up and then drops down in a steep cliff kind of feeling right before the 5mm peg. And these, of course, have what feels like treads on the sides, and there's an wheel that's recessed into the foot assembly. So those, when you get them in the package, will not be separate. when you get them in your package, they will actually be a part of his cloak thingy that we were just talking about that went on his back. So what you do to plug them in is you put the wheel facing down, and then the heel stake thing, the long part of the heel, will actually rest against the other one, the long part of the heel. And you'll each plug those in. Plug them in where, you ask? Well, if you feel on the weird cloak armor backpack thing, you have that spinny bit where there's 3 male pegs. If you were to drag your hand down, you'll find that there's 2 5mm female peg holes that are kind of sticking up a little bit out of the backpack area. Keep dragging your finger down, you'll find this weird little assembly that has 2, when you get it in the package, this will all be complete if I remember right. So you will have these 2 kind of separate feeling things that have a 5mm peg, male peg on each of them, and that slanty bit that I said at the very end. And there will be wheels underneath. It won't sit flat with the rest of the structure, so it is kind of annoying. And to get those out, you just hold your back armor piece right above the hinge for the 2 feet area, and so right below the 2 female 5mm ports that are right below the triangle of male 5mm ports. Then you grab that flat plane that's right there, and you pull each of them off individually. You will discover that they are the 2 feet cuff thingies to make him taller. And then they just easily plug into the bottoms of his feet. You can flip him upside down, and you will feel that there are 2, there's a 5mm peg hole on the bottom of each foot towards the front, and it lines up perfectly with the 5mm peg on each foot. Yeah, well, each little tread piece that you just ripped off the backpack. So, let's put them back on. And to put them back on, like I said, you make sure that the heel things, the heel claw stuff, the extra long heel bit is setting right next to the, so left and right foot, or foot pad thingies, the extensions on the heels will be right next to each other. And then you just plug them both in to the tops of the U. If you use your finger, you can feel that this weird U that appears after you take off the feet, little feet booty things. So I'm going to plug it back into that U. Come on, U. There you go. Oh, pun. And you too. Oh, second pun. So here we go. Now that's complete. We will transform him into his train mode first. So to get him into his train mode, we will take this armor. Now, we're going to start with this armor piece that was on his back because, just get it out of the way. It's going to become something like a coal car. So all you do is, it's pretty intuitive. You make sure that the 3 male ports, if you feel on the panel that they're connected to, the spinny ports are connected to a panel. Raise that panel up from the back of the, from its position where it was sitting. Then you take that panel you held earlier to put the feet in and take them out, and you fold it over so that the tops of, the very tips of the feet cuff thingies, the little booties, actually lay flat against the panel that holds the 3 male ports, the triangle port panel. Once you've done that, you can fold each of the flaps that were once like the leg things over, and then you just kind of want to push it all into place. Usually, without much effort, everything falls into the right spot. It will take you a few moments, but afterwards you should have this neat little rectangle feeling thing that has some wheels on the bottom. It rolls around, which is pretty neat. We will set that off to the side. Now for Astrotrain De-Armored. Now, Astrotrain De-Armored, we will measure you one more time. And you will now measure at 1, 17, 18, 19, 20. So, measures at 20 now. Excuse me. So he's now 20 studs tall. Taking those little boots off, took off 2 studs of height. Now on his legs, I have his 2 little side cannon pieces. We're going to go ahead and take both of those off. No, stand up straight, Astrotrain. On the coal car that we were talking about a minute ago that we just created, you'll feel that there's a 5mm port on both sides, so go ahead and plug these weapons into there that you take off of his legs. The weapons that I'm talking about are the ones that have the 2 5mm pegs on the bottom and then the 1 5mm peg on the side, and they both are the exact same weapon. They're just mirrors of each other. There's no other weapon like that in the Astrotrain, so that should be enough description to get you there. But they mirror each other, so you can put them both on the little coal car, and then get them out of the way. Now for his bigger weapon, come on, let go of it. Bad Astrotrain. Holding on to things. Go ahead and take both of his crazy weapons here and set them off to the side. A cool thing you can do with this coal car is you can fold up the top of it, and you can just kind of drop his weapons in there. And then you can shut it. And it just gets them out of the way. I do like it whenever you get some Transformers that have the ability to hold things inside of their transformed state like this. This is a little box that you can put blast effects, extra guns, random stuff like that in, and it does come in handy, especially if you have cats that constantly try to find your stuff and put it on the floor. Now, let's start transforming Astrotrain. First off, we want to look at his hands. His hands can swivel backwards into the arm, and we want to do that with both hands. You'll feel that in the forearm there's a negative space where the hand will just fold into. Now that that is done, we want to raise both arms up in the air like you just don't care. And once that is complete, this is a part that always gets me. So raising them in the air, you want to then spin the shoulder. Let's see if I can do this right. Folding these arms is very important for Astrotrain, and you must do it right, or else everything just becomes kerfuffled. Now, you want to take and rotate the forearm once you've raised hands in the air, and you want to fold it forwards, or backwards, I should say, on the elbow hinges. And it will lay flat against where there's a weird male rectangle kind of peg sticking out the back on each arm. Now that that is finished, then take this arm assembly and rotate it upwards on each side so that both of the arms lay flat facing the ceiling with those male pegs that you revealed on the same side of the forearm that you folded the fists into. Those will now be facing the ceiling if you still have him standing up straight. So he kind of looks like this, if you can see. There you go. Now, we will... one more second. There you go. Now, we will then grab the back of this, grab this panel that the 3 Seige ports are in that make up the triangle of the engine. And once you grab it, pull it backwards. It may take a little effort if your toy is new, and this will come backwards on a hinge. So stand it straight up, and then take the wings. If you notice, the wings are kind of connected to each other on these panels. So grab both wings in one hand. Best part to do is put pointer finger on one wing, pinky finger on the other wing, both of the center fingers on the area that was revealed when you folded the engine forward, the triangle engines forward, and pull it back. There you go. It's now extended on a hinge. If your figure's new, you may hear more of a snap than I did. Here, I'll put it back together, and you hear that snap. That's okay. That's a good snap. You're all right if you hear that snap. Now that you have folded the wings backwards and upwards, kind of, this engine that we have, this engine panel, can fold forwards. And if you feel on the inside of it, it's got these weird feeling port things. It feels really wonky in there. But we want that wonky feeling area because that's just wonky enough to fit into the weird, wonky male pegs that are on the underside of the forearms. And this may take a moment and a little strength to get it right if you haven't folded it correctly. Trust me. You will misfold it a couple of times. It's okay to screw this up. Just get it, practice and you'll get it right. And it does take a little strength to get that peg in there. Just a little. Come on, you little. Don't you know we're filming? There you go. All right. Once that's in there, and it never wants to go in there too well, but it does stick. So, once we have the engine placed over the backs of the forearms, we then want to take these wings and fold them both. Well, before we take the wings, since we're here, if you feel there is kind of around his hip area, we got some stuff we need to move. So let me see if I get it right. Am I picking at the right stuff? Yeah, here it is. Okay, so if you feel around his hips, you feel that he has that skirt kind of thing that a lot of giant Japanese robots have. Well, this skirt actually folds upwards, and then if you feel on the lower end of his body, right above the skirt, there are these 2 cutouts that if you fold the skirts all the way upwards, and they will snap into place. Listen. Isn't that a nice snap? Oh, that one snapped twice. All right, so once that is into place, and then if you feel on the sides, where the area we just snapped those 2 skirts upwards into place, you will feel on the very sides, there's these random bumps. There's one bump on each side. Well, if you get your fingernail under that bump and you pop them up, they're actually panels. Isn't that neat? So we take these 2 panels and we fold them all the way upwards. And then we take that and we grab them together and they continue folding upwards to reveal the tail of a space shuttle. Don't worry, guys, it's going to do more than just be the tail of a space shuttle, but you keep folding it upwards until you line it into there. And then you fold each of the panels back down. They snap into place to give a nice secure treatment. Since we're doing the train and not the shuttle first, take this tail that you have and fold it back down. It's not going to want to fold down any more than that. Oh, wait. We'll do the space shuttle first because I just realized that was an over-exaggerated step. So we're doing the space shuttle. It's okay. We are still at the point where we can decide what we are transforming him into. The space shuttle in mind, we are going to then leave the tail facing up, like so. Leave those wings in the position they are. We'll go to the legs now. Now there you will find on the legs that there's, the feet. So to get the feet off, grab the toes and then grab the leg in your other hand and pull forward. So you'll hear that kind of weird snap. Hear it again? There you go. Now it goes all the way back and plugs into the back of the leg. Sometimes it plugs into the back of the leg. Sometimes it's mean. There it goes. There it goes. Yes. Yes. Be nice. You're on camera. There you go. Now that each of those feet are plugged into the backs of his legs, we then can take the leg, and this will take a little strength, guys. Don't worry, you won't break it. You won't break it at all. You can try and pull the legs off, but I have discovered a trick. If you feel where there's no longer a foot, you can feel the tip end of the space shuttle nose. If you push your fingers in there and keep going, and then use a little leverage, you can actually snap it off without using much strength at all. All you're doing is putting your finger between the space shuttle nose and the inside of the leg, and then you curl your finger in while pulling away at the same time. And the side of the leg will pop clean. Let's do that on the other side. So set it up where you can see it well. Put your finger in there and pull. And everything pops quite nicely. Gotta love those little pops. They do make you feel secure in what you're doing, how you're working. So we're gonna then kind of plug both space shuttle noses together. Come on now. Come on now. There you go. Astrotrain is one hell of a guy. There you go. I like to spin my transformer while transforming him to make sure that I get all of the little pegs and all the little areas, because you're always going to miss something if you're not careful. Come on now. Don't be like that. Oh. Alright. Got it. Just. Oh, come on now. It fit on the other side. There. There you go. Yes, yes. All right. So, sometimes these train wheel bits on the sides of him can get a little caught up in the workings and cause everything to not snap into place right. They get caught on the solid bit in the center that's shaped like wings. But with a little finagling and moving it around a bit, you can achieve a status of equilibrium between those two sections. And there you have a space shuttle. The space shuttle is pretty simple, guys. All you do is snap those legs together. Make sure that the smooth parts. So the space shuttle is mostly smooth, except in this middle where there's a huge amount of negative space, and I really wish they had done something more with that. And I don't know what could have happened with that. I may be missing something, and I just didn't see it. But with this negative space, you can take these two guns that you put on the sides of the coal car, and you can set them up on either side of the space shuttle. There's a Seige port on the top, and they kind of form the top of the space shuttle, but it's not really the best transformation. It's not everybody's favorite space shuttle. It's pretty blah. I'm not even sure if there's a landing gear. Honestly, I don't ever use the space shuttle mode. So there's the space shuttle mode. It's a little simple but wonky to get it into. So let's get him into train mode. Oh, before I forget, since we're in space shuttle mode, let's look at the the space shuttle base. Take out the guns. Now the space shuttle base is a cool extra feature in this guy, and to make the space shuttle base, all you do is you unfold the coal car, you lay it out flat, where everything is flat, and the 3 male ports for the space shuttle, or the engine end, are snapped down into their original position. And then you take the space shuttle and plug it into those 3 ports. Now, this is where this figure really, really makes headway with. To plug it in easier, you may want to fold up the panel just to get a better grasp on what's going on. Don't be afraid to use your fingers a bit to feel around in there and figure out how to twist everything. That's the most difficult part with this, is those 3 ports, they spin, and that can make things a little difficult. I honestly don't like the spin. I don't know why it needs a spin. All right, there you go. You can. This is supposed to be some sort of transportation thing as well, but I haven't been able to figure out how to make it work well. Honestly, it's kind of trashy as that kind of thing. But if you take the wheels or the foot peg things off and set them off to the sides like so, you can make kind of a little launch pad. I think it's neat. It's definitely a unique addition. I wasn't expecting a little launch pad when I got this guy, and it was a happy surprise. I thought that was a cool use of that coal car. Now, plug the feet back into the section where those foot pads go, and we will take and get off. There you go. Unplug him from the coal car. Fold the coal car back up by taking that section, folding in those side bits, connecting everything together. This coal car is a pretty simple transformation, so I believe in you guys. I think y'all can do it. Take off the guns from the top of the space shuttle to give it a little more space, because we're about to go training. That's a training video, and there's a train in it. Punny. Right. Like that. Now, to get him into train mode, there's a few steps. First off, make everything easier. Go ahead and pop the wheels on either side of his legs. And then take his front leg bits and pull them away. Then take his space shuttle bit and the ends of the feet, the space shuttle nose, and separate it. This may give you some problems. There it goes. Those connections are tight, people. They are tight, tight, tight. Spin each of the feet 180 degrees to reveal the front of a train. Now, here's a spot that not many people ever talk about. Inside of the foot, there's a hinge at a 45-degree angle, or near enough to be 45 degrees. In that hinge area, there is this weird little panel. So on each foot, you want to fold up the tiny little panel. It's going to go over some little hole area. Now, do it for the same with both feet. Reach in there and find that little panel and get it out. Get it out, people. Trust me, it's needed. Come on. Hey. There you go. There you go. It can be a little difficult. Those panels do not like coming out. But once you get them out, it's time to fold the legs back together. So you've got the train end. You can tell it's the train end because it has a little wheel. And you folded out both of those weird little panels. Now go ahead and connect both of the train fronts together. And go ahead and connect the legs back together. Close in that area. Don't fold down the wheels yet. So now that you fold